Good morning to all, and thank you for Gabriele for this opportunity to interact with this wonderful audience, Open Source Finance Forum, in the context of the OS climate momentum that is growing. Of course, it's a bit funny to have a dull guy with a blue suit and a tie addressing from a regulatory perspective. A vibrant audience of people that are working on how to develop in an open environment. I would like to say to start with that, we have to be, we have to see this cooperation under the following angle. There are two kinds of regulations. You have the ones that are prescribing behaviors. We know very well. I mean, the banking regulators, the insurance regulators, the stock market regulators that supervise transactions. Not only do they make rules, but they also supervise their implementation. And you have the kind I represent, which is in fact related to transparency, because I am a standard setter. So normally they take old men for standard setting. I'm not sure it's a great idea, but that's the trend in general terms. You take the old guy in the crowd to say, on the basis of your experience, what do you think you should be doing? So at EFRAG, we've been tasked to prepare the standards that large companies in the EU have to apply on sustainability-related data. The critical word here is data. At the moment, sustainability-related data, or at least before the EU directive called the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, I mean, the quality of the data was nowhere near what we want. I mean, for decision-making. There is no private strategy. There is no financing decision or market transaction, and there is no public policy that is of any value if it's not based upon reliable and quality data. So, and sometimes you try to aggregate data, to find data, so of course AI can play a role, but it's better if it works in a reasonably structured environment based on quality. So, by the way, between behaviors and transparency, and I think it might be dear to your heart, I see a great advantage to transparency. If you believe that the creation of a better public good is related to what people will do, either you impose or you stimulate. And for me, transparency in a liberal economy is extremely strong, because you compare yourself with your peers, you contribute, and in an environment like this, I can mention the fact that you are also cooperating. And if you do that, you stimulate evolution instead of saying, do this, do that way, exactly. So for me, the standards that we try to elaborate and which have to be applied by the large companies in the EU are exactly, this balance between, a form of prescription, but also the inspiration that is bringing forward the right level of implementation. So let me say that for me, the interaction between regulation, the way I see it, so with the emphasis on transparency, which is my daily life, and an organization like yours is extremely promising. And we welcome this. This is the reason why I'm here. I think that the capacity to develop open source tools in order to move in the right direction, i.e. the direction of data quality, is absolutely pivotal. If we don't do that, you know, we are in a world where, frankly speaking, when I read the papers, when I listen to any shape or form of information, I ask myself, is that reliable? So the standard is taking an element of quality into the information that is being distributed, but that is not the end game. The end game is that you need to prepare from reliable sources. You need to prepare from reliable processes and systems. And all of this has to be established. We call it the ecosystem. So for climate and for sustainability in general, you absolutely need an ecosystem of, you know, reliable processes, reliable systems. And in order to get there, how do you do that? You can do it from the top by saying, and it's a little bit the European attitude with ESAP. If I'm, you know, we are under Chatham House rules, I'm sure. A small number in the room, so no problem. Frankly speaking, when you try to establish a EU-wide infrastructure with 27 member states that operate in sync, it takes a number of years, and sometimes it's not the most efficient. And when it is in place, it's probably could be obsolete. So that's why, you know, I encourage you to consider spontaneous, via the open source mechanism, the creation of the tools that are needed to prepare the information and then to distribute the information. Because frankly speaking, you know, for me, the reason why at a late stage in my professional life I invested time into this sustainability momentum, sustainability reporting momentum, but which is more importantly a sustainable development momentum. The reason why is that I believe it is absolutely key for the next generations. We are confronted with major transitions. Climate is one, but there are other ones. Because just transition is also absolutely key. You can solve climate at the expense of people. It's a bad idea. So you need also to address the human factor into the climate transition. All of this has to be informed, and decisions has to be taken on the basis of good, reliable, quality, assured information. That's the game. But then I can establish standards if the tools do not exist to prepare, if the tools do not exist to distribute. If I have to go to the website of the company and read a PDF, it's not going to work. We need today elaboration tools, distribution tools, analysis tools, and that's why I encourage to a large extent all the initiatives that are moving around the OS climate momentum. So please don't quote me on ESAP, because I would be killed when I cross the channel again. But it is true that it can work if there is also a host of private initiatives supporting the momentum. So I see the time flowing very quickly. Gabriele, I see you. Oh, okay. And I would like to conclude by saying that the sooner we get there, the better. By the way, as you know, sustainability-related topics are hot topics today from a political standpoint. I will not mention the situation in certain parts of the US. I'm sure you're very familiar. I could mention as well the level of questioning in the EU, which is not, totally ununderstandable because of the overall geopolitical situation. Priorities, but putting priorities on short-term goals is fine, but losing sight the long-term objectives is totally wrong. So, you know, for me, let's keep on working on the long term, because priorities, short-term priorities are imposed to us, but our liberty is to take stock of what we can do for the longer term. Thank you so much.